Hi, I'm Kim Hood and welcome to Hood Made. So in today's video, we're going to do two projects. The first one's going to be that we're going to redo a lamp, and I'm going to go into a little bit of detail on showing you how to rewire an old lamp if you're ever interested in doing that. Um, and talk about some different options that you can use and kits that you can get from Amazon. The second that we're going to do is another Crown Royal bottle that I'm going to turn into some cute Christmas decor. It's an easy DIY, a fun project. You don't have to use a Crown Royal bottle. You can use any kind of glass bottle for this project that I'm going to show today. We're going to make a snowman. So let's get on with video. Okay, so in project one, we're going to work on this lamp. Now, what I really wanted to do is I wanted to take an old thrifted lamp, very much like this one here. And again, this is the AI generated picture of what it kind of looks like. The crystal balls on it are a little bit smaller than what this generated, kind of more closer to this here. I wanted to make it into something that would look a little bit more like a gas lamp. So this is a globe that I accidentally kind of bought. I thought it was bigger than what it was, and when I got it, rather than sending it back, I thought, well, no, that's cute. I might want to try to do something with it. So I have this globe that I wanted to use, and I have this little light bulb. These are silicone tipped light bulbs, so they look like flames, and they're just super cute. They're very low wattage though, and they're great for lamps if you want it to look like a little gas lamp. This is very similar, a very similar appearance that you'll get if you do that. Now, in order to have a gas lamp, I need something to put the globe into. You know, when you have those gas lamps, there's usually some sort of metal type of rim that this sits down into, and so these lamps don't really have that. They do have a platform, however, and so what I did is I took a pickle jar top and some metal wire or some metal ribbon, and I fashioned a holder for the globe. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, first things first, we've got to take the lamp apart. How do you do that? Well, first you want to unscrew the screws. Most of the lamps that you're going to find are going to have screws where you have you can see here, there is one that goes there and then one that goes down here. So you have the live wire and you have the ground wire. Which one's which? I don't know that it matters. Now, if you're an electrician and you hear that and I'm wrong, please let me know down in the comments. I will say that when I wired it up, there wasn't anything to indicate one's ground and one's live. I just put, uh, one wire in one place and one in the other. So I have that. I have that removed. Then you want to come down to the bottom of the lamp. Usually this is covered up with some felt, so you're going to have to remove that. This is a weighted piece that's in the bottom of the lamp. Okay, and this is what keeps it from falling over. But you'll notice that in the very center there is a nut and a bolt that holds this on to the central bar that goes through the base of the lamp. Okay, so that has to be unscrewed right there. But before you even do that, you might even get away with just pulling. Now that I've got this unhooked from the top, you may be able to get away with just pulling out the wire without having to completely undo that. Oh, you know what? Hold on a minute. I know what's going on here. They put yeah. Let me, what I'm going to need to do is, first of all, pull some extra wire up because I'm going to need to pull this out and unknot it. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a minute. Oh, it is hard. All right, so you can see right here. there's a knot in the bottom of it. And what that does is that just keeps it from pulling away from the attachments on the socket. All right, where it's screwed into the socket, you tie a knot in it, and that prevents it from coming off of the screws in the socket. Now what you can do is you can begin to pull this through like this. There you go. So see, that cord comes right on out. And this is still a pretty decent cord, so and this is a pretty decent socket, so these can be reused again if I chose to do so. Now in the lamp that I thrifted, it had a really cheap socket cord combo where the cord was made into the socket. All right, so when I unhooked it, it pretty much destroyed the socket. It wasn't where you could use it again. I tried to figure out if I could. It became a really large jigsaw puzzle that just was not fun to put back together again. So I actually ordered a kit from Amazon, and so this is the kit that I ordered. Now, I might, and in the red here, you can see, I have it circled the items in that kit that I actually used. So I could have gotten away with maybe not ordering this whole kit, but what I needed was that rod. I needed that it was basically about 8 inches in height is what it was. And I needed that. And not all the kits came with it. Also, in this kit, you'll notice that the socket has a turn switch, and I would have preferred to have a switch that slid side to side because it would have made it easier to put this globe on. Although I made it work. Okay. Um, the other option that I could have used is a cord that didn't have the switch on the socket here, but actually the switch on the cord itself. And then that way I could just kind of flip it on and off and not have to worry about taking the globe off to turn the light on and off. Now, with that said, where I have this in my house, the plug is accessible. I can just reach down and unplug it, so that's not a big deal. Um, Now, with respect to taking the rest of this apart, if I wanted to take this apart to do something else with, because I will tell you, you can take old lamps and make candle holders out of it. You just take this part off. Um, remove all of this here, and then you're left with this part right here from here down, and that's a cute handle holder. So lots of things that you can do with lamp parts. Okay, so with that said, we need to make the globe holder first. So let's work on that. Okay, so I'm going to take a drill uh, with a bit that is the size of that hole there that you see on that plate. I'm going to drill a hole in the center of my pickle jar lid. And I'm using you'll see I used a wooden block as a base so I could not, I didn't want to drill a hole in the table, y'all. So now when I tried to see if the rod would go through, it just wasn't big enough. So I'm going to try to, again, drill a little bit of a bigger hole, but that does not work. So I'm going to take my tin snips and just hollow it out. And that worked really, really well. And then, of course, I need to take the tin snips and cut the edges that rolled out. And then this is the metal ribbon from Amazon, and I'm going to measure it out by just kind of seeing where it rolls around the edge of the pickle jar lid. And once I have that in place, I'll take my tin snips and make a snip so I know about where to cut it, and then I'll just cut that straight off there. See, so just cut that there. All right, now I'm going to take my E6000 and go all the way around my lid, being careful to try not to get it on my hands, but I did. And then put the metal ribbon in the E6000. I clamp it, And then I'm going to take some painter's tape and just wrap it all the way around to help hold it into place. And then I'll put that clip back on again so that it doesn't spring apart. And I'll let that sit and dry for about 24 to 48 hours. Now, this is after it's been dried for a couple days. I was afraid that where it attached at the back was going to come apart, so I just took some metal wire. I took some metal wire and just laced it up, twisted it with my pliers and trimmed it. I'm going to twist this, and then I'm going to press it down flat so that it doesn't, hurt my hand or anything. And then I'm going to take that outside and spray paint it black. You can see there, it is now spray painted black. It's on the right hand side there. And I'm going to begin to assemble the lamp. And there's the stand for the globe to go in, the little metal stand for the globe to go in. Okay, now I've got it put together. It's time to put the wire back in. So I went through the side and then up through the middle and out to the top. And I'm going to tie it in a knot so it does not slip down and come off of where I have it screwed into the socket. And I'll just pull that in taut and attach it to the top of the socket holder. And put the cover of the socket on there. Okay, now this is the light bulb, and I'm going to just put that in. I already have it plugged in, I believe, so you should see it turn on. And voila, it works, and there it is. Now, I didn't like the fact that it was just plain black, so I decided to put some antique gold rub and buff on. I'm just going to use my fingers to lightly go over the areas. Now, you're going to see that I'm going to get a little heavy-handed towards the base, which I did not like. So I'm going to use some alcohol to push or pull back some of that rub and buff. I'm just going to wipe off the excess. I just want the edges to have the gold on it. And here is the finished product. You can see the gold there on the metal ribbon. Really helps it to pop, and the gold on the base. Now for this next project, number 2, we're going to use the Crown Royal bottle to make another holiday item. In a previous video, I made a cute little pumpkin, and in this video, we're going to do a snowman. And so this is what the Crown Royal bottle looks like. Again, AI generated this because I didn't take a picture of it beforehand. So this looks very similar to what I used. Of course, took the label off, cleaned it really well, took it outside, and spray painted it with some spray paint. And I spray painted it white. And when I got the bottle covered to the degree that I wanted it, I brought it back in and began making the snowman. So let's see how that turns out. Okay, the spray paint that I used was not supposed to be textured. However, it turned out that way, and at first I wasn't happy, but then I realized, well, this is going to look more like snow. So I felt like that might have been kind of a happy accident. I use a pencil to draw my face on rather than just freehanding it. I got some ideas for the face from Pinterest. If you ever want to do cartoon faces, then Pinterest has some really good ideas for like snowman face and gingerbread faces and etc. So now I've got some mineral paint, DIY paint in a peachy pink color here, and I'm just going to put the cheeks on first. I'm pulling it back a little bit, lightening it on the edges using some white DIY paint, and I'm going to take my markers. This is a marker that you can draw on glass or metal, and I've really enjoyed using them to do the faces on the projects I've done so far. And so this is the black one, and if you see me kind of over to the side, I'll push on the plate some just to get some extra paint into the tip of the marker. The orange didn't want to go on quite well, but I eventually got it to work. I did dry the face between coats of paint, and I wanted to darken the cheeks just a little bit, so using a darker DIY paint color here. Y'all, if y'all hear something that sounds like snoring or someone passing gas, my dog, I have a Pomeranian, and he is a very vocal dog. He doesn't bark much, but he will grunt and snort and stuff. So that's what it is if that comes across in the background. And so again, just adding the little touches to the face using the different colored markers. Put some eyelashes on them. It kind of ran a little bit, so I'm going to use my white marker to kind of clean up the edges. Now, this is a leftover old single Christmas sock, and I'm going to use it for a hat. And I'm going to cut the heel because it didn't want to turn under quite well. I'm going to cut the heel just to get a little bit more play in the band. And I'm going to turn it under and then kind of fold it on the outside to make a rim. And I'm just going to pull that down over that bottle so it hides the stem of the bottle. That's why I didn't have it completely spray painted all the way up. And once I have that in place, I will glue it with some glue gun, with some hot glue. I'll go all the way around. He's looking so cute, y'all. And I want to do something to the top and put a little bell on. I'm taking some jute twine to put through the ring of the bell, and I'll attach that to the tip of the hat. And then I'm going to add some greenery to the top also. I'll hot glue that on. Okay, and I have that hot glued. And there he is. And he's so cute. And I styled him next to the gingerbread spoons I made in the last video. And here he is styled with a lamp. Y'all, thank y'all so much for watching. I sure would appreciate if you would subscribe and like and leave comments. And thank you for watching. Tune in next time to see what else I'll be doing.